This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much!
On 97.7 FM, The City.
Greetings, blessings, and good fortune, everybody. We have been blessed with another Thursday on the right side of the grass, if I might add. If you are in paradise, I'm pretty sure you're not watching me. That's for sure. Many other things more worthy than myself. However, I want to let you know, we are at you. We're coming. We are here today with some stuff I want to talk about and anything you want to talk about, right? So here we are on 97.7 KCYP, The City, out of the McKellen Creative Incubator. We got musicians, we got painters, we got all kinds of creative people. And let's get creative tonight to figure out, if not solving problems, why don't we just maybe vent a little bit to each other? That sometimes works, you know? Also, we're going out on YouTube. We're going out on Facebook Live, as you're probably watching us on, but I don't know. We're on Radio Garden, and we're in TuneIn Radio, two good radio apps all over the world. They have radio programs. Now, one of the things I want to let you know is that we are doing what we can do, and we know you're doing what you can do to get the word out about how things really are. That is our main purpose. And when we say this, when I say this, okay, and I'm not going to bring Joe into my jackpot, but I believe he agrees. When I say this, I want all of us to know, including myself, this is a reminder for me, that the basis of all the strife that we suffer in this world is age-old and inescapable in this matrix. We are, ladies and gentlemen, primarily in a spiritual war, okay? You and I, get to decide what side we're going to be on. What team do we play for? And I'll tell you what, as a past and middle-aged guy, I can tell you that I have surveyed the battlefield, the battle space, if you will. And you know what? I find no substitute for the God of the Bible. And I find no one else that I would rather be aligned with than God himself. Through the very face of royalty, the very personage of God himself here on earth, Jesus Christ. That, ladies and gentlemen, is who I want to be and who I serve. So that's me. You do what you do. So what I'm trying to tell you is we're going to come at you right now with a verse that really, Barry, not up on YouTube yet. Okay. Are we on YouTube yet? Do you know at all, Joe? Looks like we have 8 viewers. Barry, Frank, good to see you. Marcos, good to see you. And if I'm correct, Barry was saying that YouTube was the best last week as far as our ability to transmit. So I'm not saying that YouTube is the greatest of all transmission routes, but it seems like they're treating us pretty well. That's a good thing. So I'm now a little bit behind. Yeah, Facebook is like that. I think it's either for censorship or the fact that they really don't care much about how latent they make me or anybody else that doesn't make them money and perhaps is against their worldview. Not sure. But when I go into this, I'm hoping that this message, because it's not mine, thankfully, reaches someone it needs to reach. Even if we're live, great. If you're listening to this in its recorded fashion, that's great too. Thank you very much, by the way. This verse comes from Matthew, and it's true to all of us. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives. He who seeks finds. And to him who knocks, the door will be opened. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes we don't have help because we just simply don't ask for it. Let that not be you. Let that not be me. Let that not be us. We will ask for help. And if we do it in the name of the Lord, we're guaranteed that we're going to get a response. Now, will our eyes be open to it? Will our ears hear it? That's up to us. But we do need to be on the lookout. So I'm going in the direction of the Christopher Ott here on the iPad, given to me by my lovely wife a while back. And I will soon be on the Bitcoin Otter feed in a moment here. And then we'll see who's up on that one. And voila, we are in here. Let me turn down the volume before it gives us a problem. And there we are. So no live chat there yet, but that's fine. Possibly we could go on the YouTube one, but Joe, you're going to get that too. You're going to get that coming up. If anything pops up coming from YouTube, let me know. So, ladies and gents, I've got a lot to talk about, and we're going to go through the economic barometer once again. And I got a surprise for you if you haven't been paying attention. But other than that, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. But I want to talk about what you guys want to talk about. It's always a better show when we find a hot topic that we can all share a bit of attention to based on our knowledge or our viewpoints of how things are going. So that said, the Bitcoin price today is down. It is pretty much 30-second lag. Thanks, Barry. It is pretty much, I'm getting a bunch of love in here and hearts and all that good like stuff. That's probably my good friend Danny Rios, who's trying to break the algorithm for us. Thank you, Danny. So Bitcoin is 89,155, and I'm going to hit you with a few. I guess they're just headlines from the people I've now kind of figured out that the people who Marcos, good to see you, who are running these crypto news websites, they're the usual suspects. They're knuckleheads. But we'll read it anyway, just so that you understand and that you can see and give me a little bit of feedback if you agree. Hey, these people are really. Thanks everybody, giving me some love in there. Hopefully this place will see that we're talking about some good stuff here. So the Bitcoin is at 89,155. That's not very good. But here's that surprise I was talking to you about. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. If it hasn't broken into your sphere of notice yet, please let it. Silver is at $96.90 an ounce. Ladies and gentlemen, January of last year was at 28 and change. It's now pushing up on $100, everybody. It's pushing up on $100 an ounce. Okay? So what I'm seeing and what I'm saying is this. Please take notice. It will very soon, perhaps a little bit over $100 an ounce, become unobtainium. You won't be able to have it. Now, I know it's a little bit expensive. It's pricey right now because if you're going to buy an American coin, the Liberty coin, it's probably going to be somewhere around $100 and probably $10 now. Somewhere around there. But think about this. The United States Mint recently announced that they are no longer going to be, this is against the law, by the way. You look it up for yourself. They are no longer going to be minting the Liberty coin. I'm not sure. I don't know if they've even started the 2026 coins, but I don't see them where I shop for them. Maybe you have seen them. If so, please give me some feedback. But what if they don't make a 2026 coin? And what if 2025 is the last coin for a while? Maybe you want to buy one or two. Just a thought. Gold inching up towards the $5,000 an ounce mark. If you like gold, hey, go for it. I don't have enough money for gold, but maybe you do. Hopefully you do. Average mortgage rate is still in the crapper, 6.14%. Too late Powell has not done his job. The 15-year rate, 5.52. Still pretty bad. Now, Barry says, soaking up knowledge and hopefully sharing some, Matt. Be safe, brother. Matt, you on? Haven't seen you up there. Let's see here. Not yet. Anyway, if you're around, Matt, we want to hear from you too. Oh, there you are. There you are, Matt. I saw you on a YouTube video, Matt. One of those assaultive yahoos was, all up in your grill. You handled it well. Well done, sir. Well done, sir. Crypto news. Yes, you are. Crypto news. Those, people that do these crypto news things, I don't know that they're on your side. So just take these headlines, and I'm only going to read the headlines because I think below those headlines are even more swill, if you know what I mean. Greenland gambit sparks crypto chaos. Tariff threats send Bitcoin sliding. Analysts eyes 75,000. Same crypto news site. A little bit later. Latest updates for January 22. Crypto market sees mild recovery as Trump walks back tariff threat on Europe. These geeks, ladies and gentlemen, they belong to the same conglomerate as the evil bastards at Fox, CNN, MSNBC, NPR. Oh, they're gone, by the way. NPR is defunded. Afuera, as our Argentinian friend Javier Milei would say. Gone, baby, gone. So these geeks at Crypto News, literally that's the name of their whatever operation. These geeks, they're just doing nothing but sparking chaos of their own because they're geeks. No need to listen to them. Cointelegraph says Bitcoin offers no haven from Trump's Greenland dreams. Oh! More Greenland crap? More tariff mess? These people are panicking, ladies and gentlemen. And why are they panicking? Because their owners are panicking. Who are their owners? I'll tell you who those owners are. The bankers. The international criminal banking cartel. The usual suspects. The Illuminati. The Khazarian mafia. The deep state. Whatever it is you want to call it. But I'm telling you what, ladies and gents, they are most definitely panicking. They are panicking, and it is palpable and enjoyable. I bask in their fear because you know what? They really fear you and they fear me, and we ain't backing down. Now, this Cointelegraph stuff is a bunch of mess too. Zero Hedge. This is rich. Minnesota judge blocks federal charges against Don Lemon over anti-ICE church disruption. I don't know. I'm sure all of you, anybody who's watching this show probably has seen this. Don Lemon walked into a church, a holy assembly, and messed it all up. So, okay. Matt says Money Metals has 2026 Silver Eagles for 110. Get them while you can, ladies and gentlemen. Get them while you can. Somebody somewhere someday is going to look back and say, dude, you got a 2026 lib for 110? You only paid $110 for it? That's awesome, man. You were early, dude. Yes, I really do believe that. Yes, and yes. I do believe that. But that's me. You do you. So, this guy in Zero Hedge, this writer says that Attorney General Pam Bondi announced that 3 individuals, Chantil Louisa Allen, Nikema Levi Armstrong, and William Kelly, have been charged in connection to the church disruption. Okay. However, the Department of Justice had sought charges against Don Lemon too. But the judge refused to sign off on it. Why? Because Don Lemon is one of their chaos agents. He's a hired geek. I'm sure the others are too, but they're just not as well known. Okay? This popular sodomite, Don Lemon, knows very well what he's doing. He claims that he's a Christian. I don't know where he would get that idea. However, he goes in and disrupts a church service for what he says is winning the hearts and minds of those, I guess, of his ilk, which we know might belong in a church if they're trying to get right. But at the same time, there's no need. There's no reason in any Christian's mind to walk into a church, disrupt it to the point where kids were crying. Ladies and gentlemen, little kids are crying, and guys like Don Lemon love that. And I won't get a little deeper. I want to, but I won't. You let your imagination run wild on why Don Lemon would want to see a child cry. You figure that out for yourself. You determine why you think that might be the case or not. But what I want to tell you is this. He's not a nice guy, whatever it is. First of all, he hates white people so much that he married a white man. Or whatever you want to call it, the ceremony, he calls it a marriage. But he's got himself one. You know, always telling people that you know, the white man is screwing him, and I guess he lives it out. If you know what I mean. Bill Melgoon from Fox says, multiple sources tell me, and colleague David Spunt, that the federal magistrate in Minnesota who refused to sign off on an arrest warrant for Don Lemon is Douglas L. Miko, and that his wife works as an assistant attorney general in the Minnesota AG Keith Ellison's office. He posted that on X. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a sick, sad, and twisted cabal of freaks. Geeks, freaks, and chaos agents. So you have these judges, and this is a shout out right now. If you're out there and you're one of those people yelling for arrests, arrest them all, lock them up, please tone it down. And this Minnesota judge is the reason why I'm saying this. If we arrested all these people, we sack them up, we do whatever, and we send them in front of these judges, what do you think's going to happen? The same exact thing as if Don Lemon was arrested. Nothing. They'll be let go. Because the American system, the American judiciary system is shot through with corruption. It is shot through with communism. It is shot through with anti-American sentiment because you and me let it happen. There haven't been any fair elections in Minnesota. There haven't been any in New York, California, Illinois. I would say for years, maybe a decade. Not sure. This is why, and we're going to see, this is why the Venezuela thing is so important. Okay? Because that's where they housed some Smartmatic, and that's where they housed Dominion theft of our elections. Because they started there. I want to say it was 2007 they started in Venezuela. And then we all know what they tried to do in 2016 and what they succeeded in doing in 2020. They overthrew the country by, doing what they do, cheating. That being said, what I'd like to tell you, and what I will tell you, is that if we do lock up all these evil people, and there are many evil people out there, the evil people installed in the positions that used to give a just decision are gone. Most of them. Maybe. I don't know. It depends on where you're at. Let's just say the Southern District of New York. Is anything good coming out of that place? No. No, it's been captured for many years. Captured by the enemy. If you don't think this, well then, start thinking. Seriously. And stop watching TV. Because you and I are what we need to take this country back. Now, yes, we do have a counterinsurgency mounted by the military, and I can get into that in details if you'd like. Donald Trump being the tip of the spear, if you will. However, before they invoke the Insurrection Act, which is pretty much inevitable, I would like you to know why they're doing such things. And this Minnesota judge is just one of the many reasons why we will be requiring the invocation of said Insurrection Act fairly soon. Now, what we are doing here is just scratching the surface. Because I'll tell you, there are people much smarter than me, much more articulate, and much better able to explain with verbose fluidity the situation we're in. If you're interested in these things, please hit me up. You already have, if you're watching, you already have my information here. And I will give you the sauce. I'll give you the best that I can do, which is point you to podcasts that will tell you explicitly and in long form with explanations, even metaphors and analogies about where we're at right now. I only have an hour, and, well, I'm just me. So, Matt says, can we talk about the BS narrative that Air Force had a mechanical anomaly over the Atlantic and had the return to Andrews Air Force Base yesterday? The deep state tried to whack them. You know what? Thank you, Matt. I should have brought that up, and I don't even have my notes. I very much appreciate your attention on this. Sue, good to see you. Hi, Dad. Hey, Jim. Good to see you guys. So, Matt, yeah, an electrical failure, they spun around, and then they went right back. So what does that say? To me, it says that something serious happened. It wasn't what they said it was. To what degree of seriousness was the event or the threat? I'm not sure. But I think we can say it was neutralized. Why? Because they turned around and went back. Right? And he actually did speak at Davos, if I'm correct. Excuse me. So I'm thinking that it was something that was either quickly neutralized or at one point or another, at one level or another, it was determined that it wasn't as either credible or viable as a threat as they thought. Now, any 3-hour delay, says Barry. Thank you. Any other word or any other maybe conspiracy theory, if you will? Are there any truthers out there with any inside information? Maybe that guy that tracks planes and all that stuff? I don't know. Maybe there's more info on this that I've been able to dig up in a day. And if you have, please, guys, throw it up. I'm willing to talk about it. It was certainly an anomaly, if you will. And what I'm wondering is, was it yet another attempt at his life, which is probably the case. I wouldn't count that out by any means. So where I'm going with this is hopefully they caught it quick. Hopefully they have means that are well beyond our knowledge. And let me just use this as a segue to what that Barry says. I did enjoy Trump's speech at Davos. Yeah. Oh, and did you see Lutnick's? Did you guys see Lutnick's speech at Davos? Dude, he just threw it right in their face, man. You're done, he says. Your New World Order? Kaput. Done. Finite. Done. Fiend for my Spanish-speaking friends. Okay? It's done. Your New World Order is in the crapper, he said. We've got another order, okay? And it's about the people. It's about an alliance of sovereign nations. No world globalist crap. Right? You want an NDO? You shove it where the sun don't shine. You and Don Lemon. All right? So, yeah, they really did put Davos, okay, the people who want us to own nothing and be happy, they put them on notice. And, oh, man, they're shaking in their boots. They are most definitely shaking in their boots. There's no way that they have any ability to fight back. Now, will they fight? Of course. Will they overcome? No, they won't. They're like a rat in a corner. You got a broom, and you just got to whack him enough times till he croaks. Okay? But he's going to bite. He's going to hiss. He's going to spit. Probably drop a few rat turds. That's what these people are going to do. Okay? So they're messing with our weather. We got a cold front coming, right? Throughout the whole mid part of our country. If you think that's natural, if you think that's, all the way down south, we're here in deep South Texas. We're talking about Florida. Is it going to reach us that far? I don't know, but we're supposed to go into the 30s here in deep, deep South Texas, right? Is that natural? You be the judge of that. I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm just going to say I think it's not. Barry says, Trump put Europe on and the rest on notice. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Didn't he? And you got these crypto that I was just mentioning here, these crypto sites, right? Talking about how the Greenland and the tariff threats, they're sending Bitcoin sliding. Yeah, shut up. You kidding me? This is awesome. This is awesome. Greenland? You know what Greenland's going to be? It's not about Russia and China, ladies and gents. That's to keep a little bit of space from that evil, evil continent called Europe. Let me backtrack that. Let me backpedal a little bit. The people are not evil. Okay, the people are just wanting to be people. They're just wanting to eat, drink, and be merry like us, right? But the fact of the matter is, those installed leaders there have completely taken that place over. Completely. And they are replacing them, as they tried to do here, to replace us, we Americans, with people who don't really care about America, don't even care. They'd rather come here and crap on it, grab all our money, right? Somalia. And then leave. Yeah. This is not going to happen, Barry. He put them on notice, and they got nothing they can do about it. Not a thing. We are winning. The power back to the people. And all you black pillars out there, and I know you're alive and well and kicking, please stay off of that black pill. That regimen is killing you, man. Your brain cells, too. I see a ton of you on X. So, here's something we could talk about, too. This is out of Zero Hedge. And again, they're no bastion of knowledge either. Trump rages as Jack Smith accidentally exposed the partisan scam behind the January 6th probe. Zero Hedge, why would Trump rage? Why would Trump rage? It's all coming along as planned. In fact, Jack Smith is probably a white hat. He probably infiltrated the freaks in the New World Order, the Illuminati, the deep state, whatever you want to call it, just for this purpose. He didn't accidentally expose the partisan scam behind January 6th. It was all designed this way. So it says here, Jack Smith's testimony before Congress did more than expose weaknesses in his own case against President Trump. It also laid bare just how partisan the entire January 6th investigation had become. You think? And how willing Democrats were to claims they knew could never survive real scrutiny. We're going to get into one of those right here. No, you know what? I didn't finish out the rest of it. But remember that Cassidy Hutchinson creature? When she said that Trump, he's just a distraction. Thank you, Barry. Thank you. Matt says, have you heard the theory that some of these ICE USBP protests are ops just to get Antifa to come out of the woodwork, and that the real arrests are happening behind the scenes while those nut jobs are protesting and otherwise preoccupied? I've not thought of it in that sense, but Matt, as you frame it in such a way, I would say that is a viable theory. I don't have any sauce for it. I don't have any definite way of saying that it's there or not. But as a theory, and phone, I'm not talking about you, Siri. I'm saying theory, you little rat. Apple, man, they suck. So the real arrests are happening behind the scenes while these nut jobs are protesting. That's sabio. That's wise, right? That's next level thinking. That's a chess move, and I think it's got potential. So if all the protesters are going to one place, how are they going to protest? One of their child abusers, kitty molesters, being arrested down the street. If they're focused in one place, that's excellent. That's excellent. That sounds pretty good. In fact, yeah, I would go with that. I would hope that a lot of these things are being put on for just such occasions or just such operations. There's so much going on that we don't know, and we aren't even able to avail ourselves of the truth yet. What I'm hoping is somebody, and maybe it's one of you guys out there watching, puts together a timeline after all this is said and done, and maybe start now. And I know a guy, Mike Smith, who or Mike King rather, that I've posted who's got a 37-part series so far in how the New World Order started and how we've beaten it. It's very worthwhile on Rumble. Mike King, Real News in History is his website. So, yeah, that's possible. I wouldn't doubt it, Matt. It sounds viable. So yeah, I mean, you got these. So many have been co-opted. Like I said it earlier with the crypto news stuff. So much of our media has been co-opted to tell us lies, to very much disguise and deceive us, disguise the will of the good guys and the bad guys as well, and to deceive us into thinking that, well, hey, you know what? Bitcoin's falling because Trump's saying he wants to do this and that with Greenland. Oh, and I got a very nice, as a segue, very nice article here, a masterclass, if you will, by our good ally, Mr. Vlad Putin. And if you don't think he's an ally, hit me up, please. I'll set you straight on that one. This is, again, out of Zero Hedge. Putin puts a price tag on Greenland, appears to relish NATO turning on itself. Yes, NATO sucks. Putin acknowledged, you notice they don't say president because there's no respect, but they will have it. They will. Putin acknowledged the U.S. and Denmark must ultimately settle the question about Greenland, but he interestingly hinted his sympathies could be with the U.S. position. You don't say. Given he offered up as a model for resolving the dispute, America's historical requirement or acquirement of Alaska. Gee, who did we buy Alaska from? You'll find out in a minute. He also offered up some quick math. Putin explained that Russia has experience in selling Arctic territories to the United States and said, at today's prices, taking into account inflation over the decades, this sum is equivalent to about $158 million, Putin said. You remember, if you don't, our purchase of Alaska was from Russia. And yeah, at some point they're like this close together on a map. Anyway, he then said, Putin did, that given Greenland is a bigger country, a bigger territory than Alaska, a similar deal would have seen Greenland priced at roughly $200 million to $250 million. So what's he doing here? He's pointing out inflation. Why is he pointing out inflation? Because we're on a fiat system. Our enemies are Russia's enemies. Our enemies are even China's enemies. But I won't take you there that fast. Some of us need to go a little slower. Not so much in this audience, but we could be talking to newcomers. I don't know yet. Now, he's pointing out that Russia is very, has intimate knowledge of purchase and sales of Arctic territories because they did it. They did it for a reason. We were their ally then. We still are. And they're also teaching people about fake money. So for what we purchased Alaska, we can purchase for a little bit more Greenland. Just a paltry $200 million to $250 million in today's dollars. Fake fiat dollars. And then he said, factoring in the relative value of gold at the time, he described the true valuation could be pushed to probably about $1 billion. So not only did he point out that inflation is eating up our fiat crap currency, the Federal Reserve note, but then he compared it to the value of gold, which is not at all backing the Federal Reserve note. Nothing backs it. They're making it out of thin air. It's crap. Get out of it. And here's Putin giving a masterclass of all this, ladies and gents, if we just pay attention. And then he concluded, well, I think the United States can afford such a sum. On the politics of it, while stressing Moscow has no interest in entering this purely Western dispute, he said, incidentally, Denmark has always treated Greenland as a colony and has been quite harsh, if not cruel, towards it. But that's a different matter altogether, and hardly anyone is interested in it now. Ladies and gentlemen, Vlad Putin, Donald Trump, and I would imagine Xi Jinping is also doing so, but I don't know. I haven't paid that much attention to the Chinese aspect of it. But ladies and gentlemen, they put on these master classes. They put them on. They roll in it. All we have to do is watch. But, oh, wait a minute. You put on that boob tube, you're not going to see not even a bit of it. You won't even see one part of it. The only way they will show these leaders is in a negative one. That's it. You only see the negative of these very articulate, very knowledgeable and intelligent people. Because the people they want to show you are idiots. You're Don Lemons, okay? And if they have a certain melanin content, or if they have a certain proclivity or lifestyle, you're going to see even more of them. Why? Because that's what they want. That's what the owners of the New World Order, of the criminal cabal, of the banking system that is bleeding us dry, that's what they want. That's what they want to do to us. They want to replace us, okay? I don't care what color you are. If you're an American, put America first. Because you know what? When we come together, that whole melting pot thing, doesn't matter what color we are, but it sure does matter what country we believe in and what country we fight for, be it in the military or be it on a podcast. Our colors don't matter because our race is all the same. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to break it to you if you don't know this, but we're all one race. We can't let those fools, those evil bastards, think that there's more than one race. We are human. Our melanin content does not declare us to be of a different race. Please, let us not be divided at any level, much less that one. Okay? Let's put America first. If you're Russian, put Russia first. If you're English, put England first. I think you get the idea. This is a sovereignty issue. This is why we have to begin to realize as regular people that there is a sovereign alliance. Back channels are necessary. If you don't know about that, look up the whole Kennedy thing, okay? What he had going with Russia that kept World War III from happening. Back channels, ladies and gentlemen. Please learn about these things. If you need a little bit of head start, I can set you up with a link, and you're much more likely and probably much smarter than me, so you can come back and give me some feedback on what you're learning, what you came up with in that rabbit hole, so to speak. Okay? We can help each other out on this. Now, Barry says, we should have allied with Russia when they tore down the wall, in my opinion. Absolutely. Absolutely. We had the chance, but here's what history tells us. Not the ones in the stinking pulp that we call history books, that we call textbooks. But what happened was the oligarchs, the usual suspects, the banking cartel members went into Russia. And they were balkanizing it. How do you think Ukraine came about, right? They were balkanizing Russia so that they could surround it, if need be, and the need is now here. And they can have hotspots all over the frontier of Russia to start World War III. That's Ukraine's purpose, right? So what Vlad Putin did was he kicked all those bastards out. That's why they hate him. That's why you'll never see anything positive about Putin in Western media. Because he beat them. He was a bulwark. He was the original fighter of the New World Order. And they hate him for it. They absolutely hate him for it. Good opinion there, Barry. That is a very good opinion. So, what we're finding now is that the alliance, the sovereign alliance I'm talking about, it's not my idea. People smarter than me have come up with it. This guy calls himself Burning Bright. He's on Substack and he's on Rumble. Check out his shows. Very intelligent guy. He's a younger guy. Probably call me a boomer and be wrong. But, yeah, there are some very, very bright minds on this stuff. Maybe pay attention. And NATO moved in. Yes. Yes, Barry. NATO moved in. They brought their Nazis with them, the Azov Battalion. Look it up. They brought chemical warfare labs. Some of us even believe, and I am included in that us, that COVID started in Ukraine. Yeah, I do believe that. So, hug a Russian if you get a chance, all right? House Republicans passed reconciliation bill banning welfare for illegal aliens. Yay! Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you cut off the source, right? If you stop the pot of gold from being thrown out to them, they're not going to come. Barry says our government lied to him. Trust issues, of course, many times. NATO, of course. Oh, we're not going further east, says NATO. And there they park on the front doorstep of Russia and poke the bear. Yeah. So this guy, Hamadeh, there's controversy about this Hamadeh guy. He's a rep, right? Says that this reconciliation bill banning welfare for illegal aliens prevents illegal immigrants from obtaining all government handouts, cracks down on rampant fraud like abuse and mess that we've seen in Democrat states like Minnesota, and reforms funding so only citizens count. Imagine that. And when they're doling out federal funds to the states, only citizens will count. Man, that just sounds so refreshing. Barry says biolabs in Ukraine. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, biolabs in Ukraine. There's so much, guys. And Matt, if you're still on, I want to go back to this stuff that you were talking about the plane. I just thought about this. Have you guys ever seen the very articulate masterclass of a guy who broke down what really occurred on the plane? It was what was it? It was out of some I think it was Middle Eastern. It wasn't a Middle Eastern, but maybe like in the Thailand area. Where's that subset of nations there? Malaysia 930, I think it was. And the technology that was deployed against it. Wow. Maybe, Matt. I don't know if you've seen that, but it was great. If I'll dig it up, I'll send it to you. But there are so many technological breakthroughs and possibilities and potentials that we don't know about. Let me give you an example of one. And I'm sure you've read or seen it. The deep state guard against Maduro, and they were against, supposedly they were his bodyguards. They're all Cubans, right? That kept Maduro penned in. There were hundreds of them. And one of the guys that was in that battle between them and the relatively small 20 people, spec ops guys from the American forces, said that they didn't have a chance. 120, 150, whatever it was, against 20. Why? Because there was some technology deployed against them that made them bleed, that made them vomit, that paralyzed them, rendered them unconscious. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever we know on our level is, I won't say insufficient, because I'll tell you what, it's going to be up to us to become that critical mass that becomes the tipping point. You and me. That's why I do this, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I do this. I have this thing that says I got to do it, right? There's a show like that with Mike Rowe, the guy from Dirty Jobs. If you want to see something inspiring, check out his show called I Got to Do It. Like, these people got to do it. It's not that, maybe they went to college, maybe they didn't, I don't know, but they got to do it. They have to do it. And they move and they create because it's just in them, and they follow it, and they break the trend, and they do it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not breaking any trends here, don't get me wrong, but I just have to do this. I don't know if I'm effective or not, but I just have to do it. Malaysia Air, yes, says Barry. Matt says their remains were in shoeboxes. Yes. So the OP4, the opposing forces of the spec ops that went in and grabbed Maduro, the remains were, yeah. So I don't know if that was for effect. Perhaps, I'm not sure. But the fact of the matter is that they were all in little boxes. They didn't stand a chance. So whenever somebody says that Russia, China, they pose so much of a threat to us that we don't have a chance, you're not thinking right. You're not giving the totality of the situation a good thought, a fair shake. So yeah, and that's where I could see that going, Matt, on that thing where if they did try something in the flicker of whatever happened in Air Force One, maybe that was a precursor to some sort of technological deployment that would have rendered it powerless or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, that Malaysian 930, I think, was the flight number. That video was incredible. There were spinning orbs around it and stuff like that. They used different kinds of camera, and it was all on camera. Now the freak news would never show you that, but it was all on camera. We have video of the entire thing. It's fascinating. So yeah, Mr. Hamadeh, yes, I agree. Welfare should be banned for illegal aliens. There's only one reason why it's here, because it's the bait. It's what they dangle. It's the carrot they dangle to bring all these people in. That and $2.5 million for a childless childcare facility in the case of Minnesota. $2.5 million a year those people were making. Alberta, this is in Canada, sees large turnout for petition to separate from Canada. Wow. Some Canadians are waking up. Crowds of Canadian citizens stood in long lines across Alberta for hours this week to sign a petition for a referendum on leaving Canada, officially titled "A Referendum Related to Alberta Independence." The petition requires at least 177,000 signatures in order to trigger the referendum, which would ultimately decide if the province will separate. I doubt it will. And here's why. They did the same thing with New Scum in California. Oh, they got well over the amount of signatures they needed. But then the referendum, right, went right back into the corrupt election system because they had an election after. And what do you think happened in the election? It was corrupted. It was cheated. They rolled them. New Scum remains because there are no elections in California. There are only installations. There are no elections in New York. Only puppets. There are no elections in Illinois, Minnesota, Maricopa County, Arizona. Sound familiar? Fulton County, Georgia. Fanny? Huh? Yeah. Anyway, so some Canadians are waking up. Here's what The Guardian says. This is interesting. Now, The Guardian is no friend to truth lovers, but check this out. Venezuela's Delcy Rodriguez assured U.S. of cooperation before Maduro's capture. Of course she did. She was working with Maduro, who was working with Trump. Rodriguez, who was sworn in on January 5 as acting president to replace Maduro, and her brother Jorge, the head of the National Assembly, secretly assured U.S. and Qatari officials. Ooh, there's Qatar again. What about Qatar? That's the place where we're parking tariff money. That's the place where we're parking American money. Why are we parking it there? To keep it out of the deep state Federal Reserve. So this woman actually went with the Qatari officials as well as U.S. officials and through intermediaries ahead of time so that they would welcome Maduro's departure, according to the sources. Why would they welcome Maduro's departure? She was his left, right, they're socialists, whatever, hand person. Because she is continuing on the continuity of government, if you will. Okay? Why? Because Maduro is not who we were told he was. Neither was Hugo Chavez. If you can see me, you're like, wow, I don't know something. Yeah. It wasn't my idea. But I'll tell you what, I know a little bit about a little bit. Hugo Chavez, Nicolás Maduro, they're not who we were told they were. They were also fighters, as well as Putin was, right? These people were fighting. Now, of course, they were decimated economically because that's what the economic hitmen do. But the fact of the matter remains, they were fighting. The same people that we rolled over for in 1913. So, yeah. This whole Maduro thing, wait till he spills the beans. Then, remember what the Insurrection Act is all about. And then also, please reinvestigate the executive order. I believe it's 13848. Check it out. Barry says, where do you think Maduro and his wife are hanging out? Oh, yeah. I'm telling you. First of all, it's going to be what I believe to be another thing that happened with Assad, right? He is, how would you call it? Asylum in Russia. I think it'll probably go in a neutral country, and Qatar is a pretty good neutral country for Nicolas Maduro, because people in America have been brainwashed to think that, everyone's bad in South America because we watch TV. We watch too much, but not us, right? We watched too much TV. So, yeah, that very well could be. He's going to spill the beans, though, and it's going to happen. And then we're going to get the official news from Southern District of New York, where he's being prosecuted, so to speak, that he's off the hook. Yeah. The Gateway Pundit. These are just headlines because the Gateway Pundit is way too hyperbolic for me at this point. Unhinged J6 TV star Michael Fanone. Remember that? Yahoo, that geek, supposed to be a Capitol policeman who cried on camera because, well, he was abused. He wasn't abused. He's a crisis actor. He's a paid geek. He screams. He's during this sham of a hearing. He screams at Ivan Reichlin during Jack Smith committee hearing. Democrats cheer as he exits hearing room with Capitol Police. And he flips off lawmakers during hearing. Ladies and gentlemen, Fanone is a play actor. Deep state puppet. He says it's time to shoot ICE agents, does he? This Fanone guy? Ladies and gentlemen, you can always tell one of these deep state goons, not only by what they say, but by how they act and all the different places they show up. Let me give you a quick example. The rat police commissioner in Laena, and Marcos, if you're still watching, man, you remember that guy, right? That Laena police chief, he was not their police chief for a very long time. In fact, he moved to Hawaii, or maybe it was reverse. And then he went to, I want to say it was Chicago, and oversaw some other crazy tragedy. That's who these people are. They're crisis actors in times when the deep state wants to make a move, like burn down a complete neighborhood or the Pacific Palisades so that BlackRock can buy it up. Those kind of things. This Fanone guy is just like that. This is also a headline from Gateway Pundit. Radical left globalist anti-ICE activist who helped storm Minnesota church collected over $1 million running scam of an anti-poverty nonprofit. I think that was one of those women, I won't call them ladies, that were indicted. So we have Sean Till, Louisa Allen, Nikema Levi Armstrong, and William Kelly. Maybe he or she is a woman too. I don't know. They probably collected over $1 million running this anti-poverty nonprofit. That's who they are, ladies and gentlemen. That's who the people who brought those suitcases full of ballots into the Fulton County voting apparatus at 3 or 4 in the morning after the pipe that didn't exist burst. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Radical left ICE anti-ICE activists. That's who these are. So Trump wants to end communist rule in Cuba by the end of the year. Report says Gateway. We need to dig into this, ladies and gents. Wow. Trump wants to end communist rule in Cuba. Let's think about this for a minute. Why is Cuba still under communist rule? Remember how they had Ukraine right next to Russia and they poked the bear on the border? It's the same reason why North Korea is separated from South Korea. These are flashpoints, ladies and gentlemen, where World War III could have been started at a moment's notice. Flashpoints all around the world that these corrupt bastards want, and they got, so that they can start war at any given time or simultaneously. Also to keep us in forever wars. Yeah, like that evil satanic bastard Bush and his boy. Got a few minutes, no mas. House Oversight Chair Comer reveals nobody on our side is defending Pam Bondi as Democrats move to hold her in contempt over Epstein files. This is awesome. Epstein files. Ladies and gentlemen, Black Pillars also. If you're listening, I think you probably turn off my show after a while, but you know, if you're screaming about Pam Bondi and the podcast guy who stepped down from the FBI, Dan Bongino, you're screaming about those people that they do nothing. They're actors, ladies and gentlemen. They're actors. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on our own continuation of operations. We are in a devolution. If you don't believe me, there's a great guy, used to call himself Patel Patriot. His name is John. Oh, shoot. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. I can't pipe up if you know it. Anyway, he's also on Badlands Media, along with Burning Bright, Ghost, Alpha, a lot of great content providers. And this guy, he was talking about how we have basically been run by the military patriots of our time. The same ones that came up behind Donald Trump during the 2016 inaugural address. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi and who's the intelligence head, Tulsi Gabbard. They're very attractive ladies. All the men seem to be able to talk well on camera, know their way around a camera. Do you think this is an accident? Do you really? The finance people are businessmen and they're brilliant. Do you think this is all an accident? Do you think maybe they were actually recruited by somebody? Yeah. Matt says, what do you think will happen to the crypto market if we lose the tariff Supreme Court case? Oh, I don't know. But if it is a tank, then it's time to buy. Because they're not going to be, they can't destroy Bitcoin. They might be able to destroy some of the, small projects, but they're not going to destroy Bitcoin. They can't. Their propaganda assault against Bitcoin, sure, it has an effect on regular people that think Bitcoin is regular stuff. But once they're broken, scattered to the wind, scattered in 1,000 pieces, to quote President Kennedy, then their influence will be gone, my friend. Gone. They all came from Fox. Yeah, probably. That could very well be, Barry. But they're no rookies to the camera. They're no rookies to the microphone. They're no rookies to the spotlight. They were chosen for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. And this Comer guy says that, the Democrats are moving to hold her in contempt, Pam Bondi, over the Epstein files. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the bait. Pam Bondi is not jailbait because she's old enough to be attractive and not underage, but she's bait. And the Democrats are taking it hook, line, and sinker because you and I both know, we all know what they're going to find when they open up the Epstein files. Who else is bait? Trump. They think they're going to find Trump in the Epstein files. All they're going to find is that he was the only one that kicked out Epstein from his club. And he was the only one that, after doing so, called the prosecutor to say, hey, this is what this guy's up to. That's what they're going to find in the files. They're not going to find that he went to Epstein Island. They're not going to find that he did what these sick freaks did. But it sure works on black pillars. It sure does work on them. They bid it hook, line, and sinker too. I've had just about enough of the black pillars, man. They really, really are in a downward blackened spiral. And I don't know that I can get them out of it. I can try, but I don't know if I can get them out of it. Ladies and gentlemen, let me check for a couple last. If you have any last thoughts, please throw them at me. But yeah, that was a good one, Barry. They all came from Fox. Think about it. I know we all have a lot of things that are going on, and maybe if we're not able to give it time, then we might not want to think too deeply about it. But the fact of the matter is, this is our country, ladies and gentlemen. And even though I do believe that patriots are in control, they need a mandate. We gave it to Donald Trump in the election, but we also need to move toward that critical mass. And what am I talking about, critical mass? What I'm talking about is this. We need to let the people who are in charge know that no matter what the mainstream media says to blunt their message, we're going to be vocal about our patriotism. We're going to be vocal about the things that are truly good that are going on. We need to be vocal and tip the scales against the mainstream media because we are the media now. We are the voice of America. We the people, ladies and gentlemen, we the people are speaking. We won't be silenced. We won't be muted anymore because the patriots do have that control. Again, this is in that realm of the new media that I'm telling you about, these young men, these 30-some-year-old men that are extremely intelligent and they dig down deep. Again, if you want to know about some of these podcasts, and my favorite one being The Narrative on Rumble, if you want to know about these things, please hit me up on the messenger there. I want to spread this word because you guys are most likely smarter than me and you're better able to relate it to you, your family, all that stuff. None of us are alone in this. We're fighting for God, country, and family. Not in that order. God, family, and country. Right? We can truly be interdimensional patriots. The kingdom of God is our first country. And we owe allegiance to it because the emissary came down and died for us first. Jesus Christ, the King of heaven, died for you. So our allegiance belongs to heaven and the heavenly realms, the heavenly kingdom of God. But he put us all here for a reason. Whether you immigrated here and you are a United States citizen or you were born here, you have an opportunity to be a patriot of the United States of America, the greatest country that ever existed. Yes, Israel was run by God. Yes, we were grafted in his mercy. I will not deny that. And I will not throw shade at the true godly Israel. Not the modern nation state of today. Make no mistake, that is a charlatan. But Israel of the Bible was the country it was because God led it. And then it didn't. It wasn't because he didn't. He refused. He backed off. Let it not be us that pushed God away. Let it not be us. May God bless our country. May God bless America. And may God bless you and your family as I sign out today. Until next week, God bless you. God bless your family. And thank you, Lord, for your mantle of protection over the United States. Thank you, Barry. God bless you too. Amen. Amen. And the Otter is out. See you next week. God bless.
This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show
Oh my God, I love you so much.
on 90.